This is Tori Houck. I'm an Outdoor Program Manager with Girl Scouts of Western Ohio, and today we're going to be talking the Senior Ambassador Survival Camper Badge. So while we're waiting for people to show up, jump on, we're just going to go over the steps right here for the Survival Camper Badge. So we're going to accomplish steps 1, 2, most of 3, as well as 4. So 1 is planning a survival camping trip. So we're going to talk about all the logistics you need to know to get that planned. Step 2 is gather your gear. So in the description, I had you guys write a packing list. So hopefully you brought that, and I'll go over some of the stuff that you should pack. And then if there's anything additional you guys think we should add into our packing list, you guys can write those down in the comments once we get there. Step 3 is plan and prepare trip meals. So we'll be talking a little bit about that, but we won't really fully accomplish it because you actually have to cook the thing and go on your camping trip. Step 4 is learning a survival skill. So we'll be talking about starting a fire without using matches. And then step 5 is go camping. So that one's going to be on your own. So does it look like we've got... So we'll get started. So again, my name's Tori Houck. Ben is videotaping for us.
Hi.
Hi. And we're going to get started on the Ambassador Survival Camper Badge. So one thing to take note of is when we're talking about survival camping, we're talking about a deliberate going out camping with different gear than you would usually take backpacking. So you're purposefully going out camping and you want to build your own shelter. This is not being dropped off in the middle of the woods and being lost and wandering around. You are planning a purposeful trip. So just kind of keep that in mind. So first step, before we go on our trip, this is step 1, we need to plan everything. So I just want you guys to think about all the kind of logistics that go into planning a trip like this. So first, you need to know who you're going with, and then decide where that group of people want to go. So you need to kind of look into a whole bunch of things once you have that decided. And right here on our board, can you see it? Okay.
Yep.
We've got, it says trip plan. So this helps you remember all the things you need to think about when you're planning your logistics. So 1, transportation. Who's driving? Are the cars good to use? Do we have enough people? Do we have enough cars? Are the, anything transportation. Are you guys planning to go somewhere where you're on a loop, so you'll come back to the same trailhead? Or do you need to have a ferry set up where one car's on one side of the trailhead and another's on the other side of the trailhead, or the trail end? Risk management. So you need to think of where are emergency like hospitals. Who do you have to get a hold of if there's an emergency? Is there a cell phone reception where you're going? Do you guys all have waivers? Do you have permission to go there? Do you know what some of the common weather situations are in that area? So you just really have to think about all of that stuff. Make sure that the time you're going to wherever you're camping, that's a good time. There's not wildfires, or it's not a season where a lot of people are hunting around you or something like that. So just think about all the risk management. And then the itinerary. So you need to plan this. So when are you getting there? Do you have to hike in to your campsite, or is it more of just right off the lot from where you leave your car? How long are you staying there? Are you getting there early enough so you can set up camp, especially since you're going to be building your own primitive shelter? You're going to need a lot more time to get that all situated than if you're just going in and setting up a tent. What's your purpose? So why are you going camping? So for this one, you guys are learning some survival camping skills and really practicing those. And then do you need any permits? So what are the rules and regulations around the area that you're going camping at? So how many people are allowed to camp on a permit? A lot of places only allow like 6-ish people on a permit. So you might have to do 2 permits and split your group into 2 groups and 2 different camping spots. So then you'll need more adults for ratio. So that's something important to think about. the leadership. So who's leading the trip? So probably your troop leaders, but is there somebody with who's like a survival camping or backpacking or backcountry camping expert that you're taking with you? Um, and then do they have the appropriate first aid training that you need? You're going 30 minutes outside of where definitive care is, so like a hospital or a good EMS, you're going to need somebody with a wilderness first aid or wilderness first responder certification. So you need to make sure that your leadership has the skills they need as well. And then abilities and skills and knowledge. So do you guys all have the skills that you need to have to go on this trip? So I would recommend, if you're making your own campsite, you need to learn how to do lashing and do shelter building before you go, so you're confident and you know what you're doing once you show up at camp, because there's nothing worse than showing up at camp and it's a little later than you thought it was and it starts raining and then you have to get all set up. So make sure you have those skills and know what you need to do and have practiced them so you're comfortable, so when you go out into the backcountry, you can rock it. And then what's the nature situation? So again, kind of like, is the area that you're going to go to going to be a boggy, muddy, mosquito-y situation? So kind of check that out. Is there a lot of storms? Does the river flood? Is there a lot of chance for wildfires and stuff like that? Also need to know if you're allowed to start a fire where you're going. So some places that you camp, you can use like your little portable backpacking stove, but you can't start an actual fire. So you need to kind of know that. Is honeysuckle going to take over the whole campsite? Just kind of figure out what the nature situation is for where you're going. And then supporting resources. So where are you going to get your equipment? Where are you going to get your clothes? Any extra gear that you need? What's your budget? How much are you guys willing to spend on this? Do you have trail maps and kind of all those other extra things that you need to have a successful trip? Does anybody have any questions of kind of thinking through the logistics of your trip? So this is really going to be different based on where you're going in your group. So I might not have exact specifics, but this is just a really good start to figuring out what you need to think. Also check out safety activity checkpoints. They also have a list for every type of camping trip that you're going to go on for things to keep in mind as well. Do we have any questions? Oh, okay. So we'll move on, and then we'll check the questions later on and try to answer them if they come. So now that we've kind of looked at some of these considerations, one of the biggest questions you'll get is like, what do I need to take? So right now we're going to talk about your gear. So I hope you guys all brought kind of like your list of things to bring. There's lots of lists all over the internet. Safety Activity Checkpoints has a list of kind of required gear or recommended gear. REI has a really great checklist of things to bring, but it really will depend on the season and where you're going. So I have my pack right here, and we're just going to go over some of the stuff that you need. So it's a little squishy because it doesn't have as much stuff as I would usually put in it. But so you're going to need a couple things. So just don't mind that. So there's the 10 essentials. So these are the 10 most important things to bring with you. So your navigation. So your map, your compass, GPS, all that kind of good stuff. So you know where you're going. You're going to need a headlamp. So I always bring two, at least two, and then extra batteries. I really like headlamps better than flashlights because you can just put them on your head and you're good to go. Easy, cheesy, lemon squeezy. You're also going to need your sun protection. So you're going to need your beautiful sunglasses, your sunblock. I already have mine on, like a hat, sunproof, SPF kind of clothes. You're going to want some rain gear. So this is my rain gear right here. If it's someplace you're going where it's super rainy, I just put it kind of right here, close the lid, so as soon as I need it, I can just pull it out. definitely look into the weather and the rain. Ben and I went backpacking one time for 12 days, and it rained every day at 6 o'clock, and it was fun. But you needed to know that, or you would not be prepared. And here is kind of my little safety, first aid, kind of everything extra that you might need kit, repair kind of stuff. So this has extra matches, extra knife. It's got a little emergency blanket. It has a little sewing kit in here. There's duct tape. There's my compass is in here. My GPS is in here. And this is a waterproof bag so that if it gets wet, I don't ruin things in here. Also, it has like my extra batteries and an extra bandana. Since we are primitive camping and we're not taking our tent, we need to bring some sort of rope with us. Together, whatever our shelter is going to be. You're going to want to bring extra clothes. So in here, I just have some extra clothes. I also brought some gaiters. So again, if you're in wet, soggy conditions, these are really, really nice. I love them. But you just slip them over your boots. They live right here so that you don't get gook and water going into the top of your shoe. So your boots will stay drier a little bit longer, especially in the spring when you're hiking.
Snow too.
Snow too. I've got my cooking gear, so you need that. You also need to bring your food. So this is just a sample. I would obviously have way more food. So you need to take your food. Super important. Let's see. Extra water. So in my pack, I've got a bladder so that I can just be hiking and drinking my water as I go. I also have an extra water bottle that hangs out in my pocket. And make sure you fill these up before you get to where you're going. I don't think I hit it on any of this, but make sure you know your water situation. So find out if there's a stream or good water that you can get while you're hiking, or do you need to pack it all in, or do you have to set some drops along the way? So, extra pair of like camp shoes if you want it. Always bring, this isn't where this should be, but I couldn't find my other sock when I was packing. But make sure that you bring extra socks. It's so nice once your feet are all wet and weird to have a nice clean pair of wool socks. I have kind of my bivvy, or you're bringing your tarp for however you're gonna set up your camp once you get there. I've got my bathroom kit, so this has my trowel in it. It has a little bit of toilet paper, and it has a bag for extra stuff. Don't forget to bring like your feminine hygiene stuff. Going camping can be kind of stressful, and sometimes you'll start your period while you're out camping, so just bring some extra stuff just in case. This is just some soap and a like cleaning cloth that packs down really small, a little towel. Your first aid kit. This is teeny tiny. Oh, here's my big one. But whoever your trip leader is will probably have a bigger one, and then each person will probably have like a teeny tiny personal one. Your knife. You can bring a multi-tool, probably a little bit nicer to have. And then don't forget whatever you're sleeping in. So I brought my sleeping bag. Be careful. Put down a tarp or something, especially if you have a really, really nice sleeping bag. You don't want to get it all gross and muddy, or build up your shelter a little bit so it doesn't get gross or rip. Let's see. Water purification. I have that in one of my outside pockets. I cannot, for the life of me, find our manual cup, but I do have like a little life straw doodad. Or you could use chemical purification, like Polar Pure. I don't think that exists anymore.
Aquamira?
Aquamira, yes. But most people use kind of like the physical pump. I can't find ours. But just make sure you bring some sort of way to purify your water so you don't get sick.
There's the cool UV lights too.
Ooh, yeah, those are cool. And they're really small, so that's nice. couple other things to don't forget. If you have medications, make sure you're bringing those. If you have an EpiPen or if you have an inhaler, make sure people know where that is in your bag and try to bring an extra. In case you go down and we have to help you with it, we need to know where it is. Bring a whistle in case you get lost from the group. You can whistle. And then don't forget your bug spray and sunblock and stuff like that. That's all really important.
Ooh, one thing about bug spray for sure, though, is I made a mistake one time where I put bug spray in a plastic bag, like one of my goods dry bags, and the bug spray leaked and it ate through the bag. It does not react well to plastic.
Yeah.
So,
So that be careful with bug spray. That's why if you ever come to one of our camps, we tell you to bring non-aerosol spray as well, because it will eat through the waterproofing in like tents and stuff like that. So be careful with your bug spray. But if it's going to be buggy and muddy, definitely bring it because you will be miserable if you don't. Does anybody have any questions about gear to bring? I didn't pull out every single thing out of every single piece, but that's a good kind of starter. Did anybody have anything on their list that we did not cover? Okay. Any questions from step one? Okay, easy group. So that's kind of step one and step two. Step three is plan and prepare your trip meals. Sorry, I guess I should be down here. So there's a couple different options you can do. So one is learning about survival nourishment. So this is wild edibles. You should really take a local class about that because wild edibles are different in different places, and some things can be a little harder to ID than others. So if wild edibles is something you're interested in, definitely check out a class local to your area by like a professional. The other thing you can do for this step is to try setting a menu with 3 different cooking methods. So this one will depend on where your campsite is. So you might not be able to use a campfire and actually build a big campfire, so that could limit your cooking methods. Or if you're hiking in a long way, you might not want to like carry in like a box oven or something like that. So step 3 is to make a box oven. So this is one that would probably be a little bit easier to do right now at home. So I'm just gonna go grab my box oven really quick. So I had you guys bring a box and some oil, and this is so you can make one of these. So all you need to do is get a box, and you're just gonna line it with foil. Do not put tape on the inside, because the tape could burn. So after you have it nice and lined, you don't have to line the whole outside, but if you do, if you need some tape, you can put it on the outside of the box. So how this works is you're going to have some charcoal. So pretend this is imaginary charcoal. And then you can use some cans that we will put kind of over it, like this. Usually I would use 4, but I emptied the recycling, so this is where we're at. And you'll put whatever you're baking. So you can make cornbread, you could make like a sweet bread, you can bake lots of yummy things in here. This is not the most even set of grass. So once you have your bed of charcoal down, all you're gonna do is put this over it. You can bend it a little bit by sticking like a rock right there, and then it'll cook your food in a little bit. So it's really simple, it's really fun. Our oven is broken right now, so I've been really craving some sweetbread, so I might have to actually make some today, because we can. And then when you're done, you just kind of check your food, and you've got it. So this might be a fun thing to try if you have a driveway or something that you can find a couple feet that you can get some charcoal and start a little fire. So this is what you can do to accomplish step 3. If you have any other questions about it, let me know and I can get you some more info. Okay, so that's steps 1, 2, and 3. And step 4 is probably the most fun because we are going to practice starting fires without matches. Make sure you check with your parents that it's okay that you're lighting fires. Make sure you're doing it outside and not in your house. We have a little fire pit that we're going to use, but if you have like a gravel driveway, you could clear out a spot. If you have like a cement area, you could put like a piece of foil down there and start your fire on that. But just make sure it's okay with your parents that you're playing with fire. The other survival skills you could also learn for this step are learning about lashing and knot tying. So we already have a webinar video thingy about that. It's the so we talk all about lashing and knots in that one. There's another video just on knots. There's another video just on navigation. So you could check those out as well. And I believe Monday at 2, Vicki is doing a video on knife safety. So you can watch some of that. So make sure that you have a good spot to start your fire. I'm going to pull my hair back because I don't want to catch my hair on fire because that's no fun. And then we're going to head over to our fire circle or a fire square. So I'm going to show you 2 different methods to starting a fire without using matches. So the first one is going to be using a knife and flint. So a lot of times when people say you're using flint and steel, you're actually using a little rod like this that is ferricium rod. Ferricium rod. I cannot say it. That's why I brought Ben to videotape. So it's a ferricium rod. So it sparks really nice when you start striking it. Another type that you'll see is it looks more like a block. And so there's like a magnesium block, and then there's a little piece of ferricium. What is it? Ferricium on it that you can scrape the magnesium into whatever you're starting your fire on, and that will help catch the spark. I could not find that. I even went to the store to try to look, but everything's sold out. So besides that, you're also going to need some flue or some tinder, something nice and dry. I have mine on a bed of logs right here just because the bottom of my fire pit is kind of gross right now and wet. So we're going to just start it on top of one of these. So I've got my tiny tinder, my little floofs. I'm just going to make a little floofy bed right here. And I'm also going to use a little bit of twine. So right here is just a ball of twine. My dog is crying, we're so sorry. So I cut it into little pieces, and then all I did was I kind of got my nails in there and broke it up, kind of like that, to make it a little fluffier. So this is gonna help catch really easy. Just because you're survival camping does not mean that you can't bring kind of helpful fire starters with you. So this is a really easy one you can bring. And another one I'll show in a minute is cotton balls and Vaseline. That'll start up really fast. So if I start struggling too hard with this, we'll use that. Okay, so we've got our little flutes in here. Tinder, I should use the appropriate wordage. And then I've got my ferricium rod. Something like that. And then I'm also going to be using my Mora knife. I just like this knife a lot. So what you're going to do is you're going to get down. There's usually like a little spot for your thumb. You just kind of get it down in there. I don't know if you guys can see, but there's a black coating around it, which you get when you first buy it. So you do have to kind of scrape off that black coating. So that's why like the first couple strikes don't really start a spark or do anything, because you have to scrape it off first. And then once you get down to this like more silvery piece, that's when you'll start making some stripes. Okay, so I got it down here, and I'm just gonna, okay, that went really fast. And then as soon as you've got your fire started, you're just gonna start slowly adding, well, not really slowly because it's gonna burn up real fast, but you're gonna add your tinder onto it. get them all together.
One quick thing about using the knife is you want to use a carbon steel knife and not a stainless steel knife. Stainless steel doesn't have a lot of carbon, which is part of what makes the sparks. So if you are scraping against your ferrocerium rod with a stainless steel knife, it may not make any sparks. So don't be discouraged if that's the case. You may just have a knife made out of a different metal.
Okay. So we've kind of got a little bit of a fire going. Don't feel bad if you have to add a little bit more tinder to it every now and then. And you'll probably have to blow on it quite a bit to get it really happening. Ooh. Got some nice little guys going. And we got our fire. So another method of starting a fire without using matches. Okay, I'll have to stop playing with that because I could just stay here all day and just clear my fire. Another thing you can use that you guys can make at home first as a fire starter is just a cotton ball and dip it in Vaseline, and it will catch on fire super, super quick. Just be careful to make sure your Vaseline comes out with it. Just put it in there. You see, he just catches on really, really quickly. So that's a really quick, easy at-home fire starter. Another cool way to start a fire is using steel wool. Steel wool over here. Poking stick. And a 9-volt battery. So all you really have to do is touch it and she starts burning. So just make sure if this is something you're going to do, that you are not storing these two items together in your backpack next to each other. So all I did was I took my piece of steel wool, I fluffed it up a little bit, and if there was a little bit, if I was adding more tinder and stuff to it, it would ignite pretty well. So those are two methods for starting a fire without using matches. It's a really, really cloudy day today. Otherwise, we could kind of look at using like a mirror or using magnifying glass, but it just would not work today. So maybe if we have another sunny day coming up, we can just do a different video just on that. But that is steps 1 through 4 of doing your survival camper badge. We'll wait a little bit for questions. But if you can get outside, I would go ahead and try this because it's a really cool skill. And as you're trying it, it will take a little bit of practice. It will be a little frustrating at first. Like starting it into scrapes was very unusual. It usually takes a little bit. But keep practicing on it and then you'll get it. You have to find kind of the angle that works just right for you. Any questions? And if there's questions we're just not seeing, we're using our phone, I'll go double check the computer and answer any questions in the comments there. But before we sign off, thank you again for joining us. I hope you guys enjoyed learning some things about survival camping and learning some skills. Check out some of our other videos. They're on our Facebook page as well as on our YouTube channel. And you can learn about other methods of fire building, knots, lashing, navigation, lots of other fun things. If you're not currently a Girl Scout and you enjoyed what you did today, go ahead and check us out at girlscouts.org/join to become a member. And yeah, go ahead and post pictures of anything cool you made in our comments later. I'd love to check it out. Otherwise, peace out, Girl Scouts.